So I just keep it 100. I'm like, what the fuck I gotta lie for? For real.
What it is, man. Welcome to Crabs in a Barrel. King Demayo. I ain't gonna introduce myself. I'm gonna let you look me up. But listen, Crabs in a Barrel, my first podcast episode, something I've been working on and thinking about and formulating for a minute. So it's definitely an exciting moment for me. The concept of Crabs in a Barrel, it's like I was saying, crabs in a barrel, the concept is always like they pull you down, or you think about people or situations pulling you down. But also, it's like crabs don't belong in no barrel. That's not their natural habitat. So if you put something in an unnatural environment, they might react differently. Or sometimes we look at the surface of situations and don't really dig to the roots. So this show, we're going to talk about those roots. We're going to talk about, it's real interviews, real people, about real situations. And I'm honored to have my friend and my brother on this first episode, my man, King. His name ain't King, but, Saquon Ramik, right?
You got that. That was a good
one. I
one.
pronounced that. I enunciated that.
That was a good
properly.
One. That was a good one. That was a good
listen,
one.
This is my bro, man. Introduce yourself to him, bro.
Everybody, if you don't already know, most people know. My name's Saquon Merritt. Formerly incarcerated. Home going on coming on 6 years now, come October. Owner of Lightning Electric, electrical contracting company. We looking to be the #1 electrical contracting company within the next 5 years in the state of Maryland. Owner of Virtual Insights, right? 3D tour virtual reality scanning company. And also owner of JS Media Works,
Absolutely.
right? Studios, right? Where we want to make sure that our people have a platform, right, to talk on. Our people have a platform where as though we could voice our opinion and bring our culture, right, to the masses, right? And we bring real talk, we bring real situations here. We have a host of different shows. It's kind of like a TV channel that we just want to make happen, man. We will not be silenced. We will not be marginalized. We here. We here. Just like Crabs in the Barrel was now here.
Right.
Now here. Now here. Yeah, because it took a little while.
Took a little while,
Took a little while getting up here. You kind of made me, we was beefing.
Nah, you was beefing with yourself.
Yeah, I wasn't beefing. I was beefing with you.
No, I wasn't beefing with you. So you beefing with yourself. With you. That's like trying to have an argument with somebody that ain't talking.
Come on with the bullshit. That shit, man.
It ain't gonna work, bro. Listen. So, you know how we met.
Definitely.
We ain't gonna get into that yet, but
may want to let the people know exactly, because nobody knows it.
The reason this is my brother, because we was both incarcerated together. 2004, I caught 25 years and I ended up doing 13 and a half on it. And, did a lot of transitioning while I was inside and got me to this moment where I'm at right now. But we met down JCI. And we automatically, I feel like our energies was always similar. We never really, we bumped heads a lot.
Yeah.
But it was a healthy bump.
Yeah. How did we meet, bro?
I was trying to remember. I can't remember the exact moment or the incident or a situation. Like, not saying that it was a situation or something, but I don't know.
We was definitely on the tier.
We was on the same tier together. it was a likeness because both of us was in the day room. Like, we was in the day room reading.
Yeah.
We ain't really like, you was over in your corner reading, I might be over in my corner reading.
Yeah.
And I know for me, I did that, but I was just always reading for real. I was on the education tip, but I did it for real to kind of block out the ignorance that was in the day room and keep a lot of ignorance away from me.
What was in the day room? What did we see in the day room?
What? Man, young kids smoking K2, older dudes smoking K2.
Buttes. Don't forget about the buttes.
People hogging the phone up. Better not get on this phone, got the phone hanging.
With they sock on it.
What?
with a
Bro,
sock on it.
bro got the funky sock on
With the
there
funky
too.
sock on it.
It wasn't even a brand new sock. It was
Going
a
out
sock.
to the yard.
Yo was doing jumping jacks in those. He got the jumping jack sock on the phone. I mean, you better not get on there, or that's how certain people was carrying it. But yeah, the day room, man, it was like a
Buttes in their eyes. They say they putting the buttes in their eyes now.
in their eye. I guess it go in your system faster than your eye.
Yeah, I don't understand it, but you know.
But yeah, we met down JCI in the day room, man. We automatically clicked, man. Like we used to debate a lot about politics, economics, relationships. Man. Then we was fortunate enough, you know, getting a second chance college program with the University of Baltimore. I was a student, brother was a tutor, you know. So we always was in the same like circle and environments. And kind of when you in there, it's like you see the people that's doing the positive things, y'all end up meeting up in the same programs or the same, like, men recognize men.
Right. Yeah, but it's a thing, man. I think we need to get a little bit deeper, man. That day room was a lot of hopelessness in that day room, man. And that shit is like, it ain't going nowhere. It's right there now in prisons. A lot of people don't know, you know what I mean? It's a lot of brothers in there that's just, they allowed the system to kind of bury them and kind of freeze them in time, right? And a lot of brothers, they just conform to just pretty much being frozen in time, not elevating, not expanding, and just taking it like, I'm in the joint. Fuck, I'm shagging, I'm in the joint.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And just completely just like, yo, just disappearing, like just in prison, becoming like just another number. Like you disappear from your family, you know what I mean? You disappear from the outside, you just another, you know what I mean? You just another cat in prison. Feel me? Another number. Nobody knows you. And what you do is, man, you just lose yourself inside of there. So I think, well, at least for me, I seen that. And I told them, man, I was like, man, these people ain't gonna bury me in here. I told these people, I said, man, y'all not gonna bury me in here. Because as you had a quarter, I had 25, no parole for 2 grams of heroin. Right. And I was at that time, I think I was only locked up, like when we met, I was only locked up 3 years. My release date, yeah, I was only locked up 3 years. I got locked up in 2012. So when we met, it was probably 2000 and may have been 2016. So it may have been 4 years. I may have been in 4 years. So I think it was 2016.
Yeah, because that's when I got enrolled in University of Baltimore.
Yeah, but remember we was there before that because remember we caught it when it started going. But you know what I mean? You know, I said, man, these people ain't gonna bury me in here. They not gonna just bury me alive in this joint. You feel me? So you know, I constantly, you know what I mean, put something on my mind. I constantly was moving. And I was always moving in a way to, you know, exude that to other brothers. You feel what I'm saying? Like that was my aura.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was like, yo, I got these books. Like, nigga, you know what I mean? And then I think that's what really happened though. You feel me? A lot of people end up gravitating to us.
I know how we met.
How was that? You just remember?
What was you doing on the TIG? What classes was you running on the TIG?
Nah, but it was before that, bro.
Before that? But tell them what classes you was running
real
on
estate
TIG.
class.
So real quick, remember we talking about the TIG.
Yeah.
Like, we talking about prison. We talking about medium, maximum facility. We talking about rapists, molesters, killers, everything on the TIG.
Drug dealers.
What was you doing on the TIG, bro?
I was teaching real estate class. But that came about after I seen the need, right? I seen the need because it's like, you know, again, when we talk about, you know, brothers being buried alive in prison or just being held stagnant in prison, it was just like, what are we doing? Remember, we couldn't come in the day room till, remember, sometimes in the daytime, they didn't have nothing. You feel me? We didn't come out till 1 o'clock.
Right.
So from 8 o'clock up until 1 o'clock, or whenever shift changed, 7 o'clock to 1 o'clock, we just in our cells, unless you had a pass to go somewhere, unless you was in it was like, yo, this day room could be utilized for the teacher class. You feel me? For the brothers that want to come. You feel what I'm saying? So I seen that need on the T. I'm like, yo, I got all these books in here. I'm putting all this on my mind. And then remember, I was getting the daily records. And I kept looking at the daily records. I keep looking in the back of them. And I kept seeing, you know, substitute trustee sales and trustee sales. So, you know, which was pretty much the notice the foreclosures for cribs. But the other thing I kept seeing, 3500 Rice Town Road, or you know what I mean, these different blocks, such and such, Eager Street. And I'm like, yo, these local blocks, like this joint for sale. All right, $2,500 deposit, to lock in on the sale, and then bidding starts at 10 grand. So I'm like, yo, what if I created this joint into a class and actually brought this to brothers' attention? Whereas though I was like, yo, check this out. Instead of, Jay was saying, you feel me? Instead of hustling on your block, how about owning something on your block? You feel what I'm saying? Like maybe if I bring this to brothers' attention, bring it to their door. Because a lot of brothers, I don't know nothing about, like, who hell knows what a notice of foreclosure is? Like,
I ain't know it until I got in your class.
that's what I'm telling you. So who knew what that was? You feel what I'm saying? So being as though, like, and I'm looking at the terms of the sale. You feel what I'm saying? Like, what's a lessee, right? What does fee simple mean? What does leasehold mean? You feel what I'm saying? So the terminology. So I'm like, yo, this is something new I could break down to brothers on the tier. So what happened was, boom, I had a little typewriter. I went to work, hollered a couple of COs. I said, man, look, I'm gonna create a little curriculum in class and
Did you
pitch
get any
it.
tension with it?
Did I what?
Get any tension or resistance from the CEOs trying to start?
Not really, because they already knew what we was on.
Right.
You feel me? They said, look, just type it up. I went and talked to the captain of the tier, type it up. I said, look, I proposed something. I wrote up a proposal. And there I said, listen, man, I proposed something. Check this out. Y'all got the day room that's open pretty much, you feel me, all morning till 1 o'clock. I said, man, listen, this is how I pitched it to him, right? We can probably simmer down or minimize or mitigate some of the violence or bullcrap that going on the tier if I could get some of these brothers and get them to put something on their mind. Right. You feel me? So look, what I asked is, I'm going to get a list. I mean, I already had a list, matter of fact. I had a list of people that was interested. You feel me? So on the tier, if I could get, I think I had like 12 people sign up. I said, man, we got an interest of 12 people. They said, y'all can lock us in the day room. You feel what I'm saying? Keep us confined, as usually the thing. Y'all can lock us in the day room. I got a curriculum, a class that I created just out of the books that I had. Right. You feel me? I went to work. Remember, I had the big drawing paper, markers and everything. So I had that stamped up. I had a little tape. And, I started classes off by explaining exactly what a foreclosure sale was. That's what the first class was. What does a foreclosure sale mean? Right. Then after we started actually showing the cutouts from the Daily Record. Right. So I started showing, but it's because I wanted to bring it to reality. You already know that's what it is, man. Like, we want people to really see real life examples. So bring it to their face, like, bam, look, that block you was hustling on, you probably didn't even know that bando behind you was for sale. You could grab that. You feel me? So I started bringing that was what be part of my curriculum. Yo, and I just went into the books. I'm looking at them like, yo, I'm just gonna break down chapters. And what happened was I had one book, but I wanted to relate it to actually what was in the Daily Record, right? Because you may have a real estate book that just covers real estate overall. Right. And we wanted to make sure how it applies to the laws in the state of Maryland. Right. That's when I used to bring that big ass Black Laws Dictionary and everything. I used to be set up. And so long and short, I pitched it to the COs, right? They went for it, right? They said, all right, man, this is a good idea. They went for it. And we was coming out every week? Every week? Once a week? Or twice a week? Yeah, once a week. Once a week.
I think it was once a week.
Yeah, once a week.
We had a specific day that
we had a specific day that we could come out. Yeah, and they went on ahead and went for that. So that was dope, man. And that's when I had planted the seed and thought and said to myself, I was like, man, I'm gonna get in real estate. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's what that was.
So when you was running those classes and on that day room, did you ever think that you'll be sitting right here at this moment, at this level?
Absolutely. You feel me? Absolutely. I definitely had in my mind, but I had doubts though. Let's be real. You feel me? I had to put that in the forefront of my mind because your mental dynamite, your mentality, your mental is everything. So I had to tell myself, like, yo, I'm coming home. Period. Like, I set that in my mind. Right. You know what I mean? I ain't look at, the release date that the case manager gave you. My release date said 2037 when I first went through DOC.
I said 29.
Yeah, man. I'm like, man, listen, man, check this out, man. That ain't my release date. That's somebody else's release date. I don't know who that is.
They playing games.
They playing games. I buried that joint. I said, man, ain't nowhere in the world, yo,
we
for 2 grams of smack. Man. Nowhere in the world for 2 grams of smack. I'm gonna be in the joint for a quarter. Nah. Like, man, nah, no way. So, I did, man. I invested everything I had
in me, man, to, you know, to work hard, put books. I ate books. Remember I told you, books was my friend. Every time they called me up to the package room, boom, I knew I had another book coming. I knew it. And I looked at books like gold. That was my money.
Yep.
Because I was like, that's going to get me out. This is going to allow me to read and put something else on my mind and keep preparing me for outside. Because I don't know when I'm going to come home.
Yeah.
I'm coming home soon in the quarter. But whenever I touch down, I want to be prepared. I want to hit the ground running.
Right. And
You
it's
feel what I'm
crazy you
saying?
said that because you know what I used to because I'm always like comparing stuff in metaphors and analogies. It's like when we was in there, when we started running in there, it's like we had some type of thing pulling us back. Like say you got a string on your back, but you still running, you building up your leg muscles. And then when they let us out, it's like you shoot off
Like
running.
training,
like
like
and
training.
you gotta and in the process of running now, you realize your strength. And
Right.
you realize your weaknesses, etc. But in there, it's just kind of practice running because we really ain't had no way to apply.
Right.
You was doing it with the real estate classes, but you
Right.
know, a lot of brothers that was reading books, we ain't really had no way to apply it because we was
Right.
in those conditions.
Right. Yeah, and I try to, everything I did, I try to maximize my resources while I was in it. Remember we could get printouts from the internet?
Yeah.
So we used to get printouts for it, but you were supposed to really only get them once a week.
From the library?
From the library. You feel what I'm saying? So I used to already have a whole list of everything I needed printed out. You feel me, in regards to the book. But I used to push that. I used to tell, listen, I'm teaching a class. Like I always push the boundaries. You feel what I'm saying? Especially when I think when it's doing something positive and we ain't really bothering nobody. You feel what I'm saying? Like nobody at that time was really using that printing out stuff like that.
Nah.
You feel what I'm saying? Not really. So I said, listen, man, if you can, I teach a class on it here. I need as much printed out as possible. You feel me? Of different terms, different ways, you know, things applied to the real estate class that I could teach. And it even went into, you know, articles of organization, limited liability companies, and you know how to set those up.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? Because it was like, okay, the book started going into putting real estate in an LLC.
Right.
So, you know, I digested all of that information, man. It's pretty much an autodidact, man. You feel what I'm saying? I didn't know anything about it before I started
give people
reading
a
it.
definition of that word.
Yeah, so autodidact is self-taught.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? Somebody that's self-taught. So, you know, I taught myself everything just preparing in prison to come uptown.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? To come uptown and hit the ground running, man. So yeah, man.
facts.
You know, that's what it was. That's what it was.
So tell the people how you become a master electrician contractor.
So that was a fight. So a lot of people don't know. Like when I was up and down the streets, up and down, you know, I was on you know, Ricetown Road to St. Ambrose hustling. When I was on the streets hustling, you know, in back and forth in Dutch Village, you know what I mean? Back and forth. I used to go travel back and forth east to west. You feel me? So when I was on the streets hustling, I was always had a job though.
Right.
You feel me? Because I never had set in my mind I wanted to be Pablo Escobar. Hustling for me was something temporary.
Right.
It was always a means to an end. It was a means to a whip. It was a means to, you know, me getting a place real quick. But then you know how that go. You feel what I'm saying? Because it started jumping. You know what I mean? It started jumping. I'm doing 4 or 5 stacks. They're like, oh, okay. Trap, right. You know, you sell a smack, you know, that joint start going up. So no matter what and that's, you know, that's the reason why I learned you can't really play two sides of the fence. You can't straddle the fence.
Not at all.
Because one is always going to supersede the other. Yeah. And usually it's hustling because that money is coming so fast. Yeah. Right? And it's gonna cloud your vision and cloud your goals. So however, again, going back to it, I always worked, right? I was an electrician. I've been an electrician since 2005. Brother Luke, man, when I was up Hagerstown, he actually turned me on to an electrician book. And then from there, it's just off to the races, man. From there,
you already, you said in 2005?
Yeah, in 2005, bro.
bro.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, in 2005. Yeah, so I was up Hagerstown in 2005 on another bit. So I was on Hagerstown, I only had 2 years. So you know, up the new jail, if you got less than 5 years, you couldn't get in none of the programs.
Yeah.
Or none of the trade programs.
Yeah,
so,
which is crazy.
Which is crazy. Because you got a nigga that just came out the street, as they say, dummy. You feel what I'm saying? You got a nigga just come out the streets dummy. I was like 18, 19. I was fighting everything on the tier. Like everything was turned. So, you know what I mean? That's crazy to think about that. But anyway,
bring back memories.
Yeah, yo, it was crazy, yo. But anyway, so I again always had something else on my mind though. Like I wasn't dead set at that. You feel me? So I was trying to figure out like, yo, what I want to do. I'm on my way home. You know what I mean? I did 18 on the 2 years. I was on my way home. I'm like, yo, what I want to do? I'm like, man, I know I'm good at math. I like building. Like, man, what trade do I want? I ain't want to be a plumber. I ain't want to mess with no dookie in the water. That's just what we not gonna do, right? So we ain't messing with no dookie in water. That's dead.
You ain't never throw no dookie on nobody while
Yeah,
you was in lock.
I ain't never. I was never. We ain't never do that. We ain't never. I didn't never get into that. You feel what I'm saying? That was a little. That was
Brother tried to throw some dookie on me before, yo.
That wouldn't have been.
I'm glad it missed me.
Yeah, we gotta leave that alone. I don't know if I could ever. I don't know if I reached that level.
We would have
of
literally
yet.
been in some shit.
Yeah, I don't know if I reached that level of forgiveness yet. But anyway, yeah. So it came up. My Muslim brother Luke, man, inshallah, may Allah make it easy for him, and give him the good of this world and the hereafter. But my brother Luke, man, he was in electrical wiring class. So he was like, yo, I can't get you. I used to bother him every day. Like, what you learned today? Like, man, what you was doing, man? He like, man, I've been in class all day, little bro. Like, man, look, like, take this book, take this, take that. I used to just keep asking him stuff. So he just give me stuff. And I was on it from then, man. And from then I just took it and ran, man. Actually, from prison, I had wrote the apprenticeship program, told them my situation and everything, man. They said I wanted to sign up when I got home. I made some mistakes, this, and that, man. They was open to it. And they opened up the door for me, man. And I came home and I started the apprenticeship program. And, I got a job with Aztec Electric. And, I've been an electrician ever since. So regardless of what, when dudes, when I was in the streets, when you didn't see me in the daytime, it's because I was working as an electrician.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? So I've been in the electrical trade, coming on 20 years now.
OG.
You know what I mean? Yeah, coming on 20 years now. So to answer your question, how I came home and became a master electrician, I already had the time in. So, I signed up, through the state of Maryland, signed up for the exam to take the master electrician exam. And that was a hurdle, right? Because as you just signing up for the application to apply to take the exam, they ask you, have you ever been in prison?
You already know.
Have you ever been convicted? Soon as you say yes, the next question says, if you answered yes to this if you answered yes to the previous question, immediately in this application and apply with a letter to the Master Board, State of Maryland Master Board of Electricians, requesting if you can take the exam. So, when I seen it, I say, oh, are you serious, yo? So I immediately, I was, it's crazy. I was working at the law firm at the time, but I was still running my contracting company because I had someone else to pull permits for me. So I immediately started looking like, yo, this is crazy, yo. Like they won't allow me to get my master license back based on my. I'm like, yo, this shit gotta be something we got to fix. So what it was it was actually a bill going up in Annapolis, right? Called Corey McCray, right? Senator Corey McCray. He actually had led the bill. And he wasn't able to speak on the bill because he had another session. So I had reached out to his secretary about this specific bill. She said, bet. She said, look, can you come up next week and speak on the bill? Right? You interested? Can you come up next week and speak on the bill?
Come up where?
Come up Annapolis. So she was like, can you come up Annapolis? So I'm glad you asked, right? So Annapolis is the General Assembly, right? That's where they create the laws that we have to live by every day, right? So in the mix of them creating these laws or enacting these laws or bringing these, when they start off again as a bill, right? When these bills when these bills get first introduced to the assembly, there are sessions, right? They're introduced, and there's different there's different readings, first reading, second reading, third reading, that the Senate or the House of Delegates hears, and then they rule on it, right? To either vote on it to pass it, or sometimes the bill can die, right? So it was one of the readings, right? I think the second reading I was called to speak on, right? And they called me up, it was called professional licenses, right? Licenses procedures for professional license procedures for ex-offenders, right? Because remember, it was a bill to allow us to get these different, because it's not only master electrician is a professional license in the state of Maryland. Same way your beautician license, right? Your barber license, right? The different licenses that they have in order for you to conduct business, right? Certain ex-offenders were X'd out of them based on your past. So Corey McCray actually had led a bill for these to kind of eradicate that, right? For that not to be the distinguishing factor if you can get it or not, just based on if you was locked up before. So I went up there, gave my spill, spoke on the bill. It actually passed. You know what I mean? I gave my story, you know what I mean? And I told him, man, I said, man, you preventing me from getting my license is preventing me from owning a company that can hire other brothers that are ex-offenders, right? Because I'm gonna welcome them to my company as long as they don't know bullshit. Because let's keep that straight too. You feel what I'm saying? Like, this ain't no charity case.
Not at all.
You know what I mean? This is a lecture. You come here, you know what I mean? We are trying to take on huge multi-million-dollar contracts. So when you come, you gotta come with your game, because they already don't think that we are competent enough to build. We are competent enough to perform and handle these contracts, right? So with me being at the helm, I'm gonna open the doors for the brothers that are qualified to handle these jobs and handle these responsibilities, right? Because it has a trickle down effect, right? If you're a journeyman, electrician, you easily start off at $30 an hour, $33, $35 an hour.
Right.
And if we're talking about what's called the scale job or prevailing wage job, where you get paid more money because this is either a state funded job or a government job, you might be at $49 an hour.
Right.
$50 an hour, $60 an hour. So, we want to have, someone like me that is leading the electrical contracting company that is going to be welcoming to these brothers coming and getting in the door. You feel what I'm saying? So we can employ them in, on Lightning Electric's, company on our platform, so we can allow them, okay, yeah, you'll work, you signed up, put your hard hat on, get all your safety glasses and all that. You already know the spill. We got our project manager that's gonna get busy, and let's go.
Right.
So it's imperative, man, and that's why I fight so hard, man, to push this, man. So, going back, because we strayed off a little bit.
No, you
I
good,
get
'cause
passionate about this.
I mean, I kind of want to interrupt you. I want to ask you something, because like, I remember reading about something called structural violence. So it's like, in certain systems and institutions, they don't attack you directly. The system itself, how it's built, attacks you and keeps you from progressing, or it's like a form of indirect oppression. So like, going off of what we was talking about earlier, like, if you could, let's say you had a magic wand, you could wave it, and all of the issues and problems that's in the electrical field, like, if they went away, what would it look like?
It's a little bit more than that. So it's not only about the structural violence, right? As you said, to things to hold us back. It's a lot that has to be. We gotta be, perfectly honest and be able to admit that, the discrimination and racial things that went on in this country over 400 years. The civil rights movement, 1966, right? When we had when we said it was an equal playing field, and they enacted, certain laws, Title VII and things like that, to not discriminate on us for race, color, sex, and things like that, right? That was only 60 years ago, bro. That was only 60 years ago. So when my mother was born in 1966, right, she didn't even have a way of fathoming or understanding what that meant, right? And there was still, there was still systems in place to keep us marginalized, right?
Still is.
So, and it still is. So these things are maybe, as they would say, just really unraveling with us as first generation business owners, right? So it's not really like a magic wand.
No,
Go ahead.
You messing up the question, bro. You going off.
Go ahead.
In your field,
Mm-hmm.
if you had a magic wand and you can wave just get rid of all the issues that you have been faced with, all the problems that you all the obstacles that you overcame, even with what we was talking about earlier, like what you up against.
Right.
If you could get rid of that, what would it look like?
Oh man, it would be beautiful, man.
Yeah.
It would be dope. Yeah. So how it would look like, man, it would be more of me, right? It would be more brothers, right? So your average electrical contractor is 55 years old. In the United States, your average electrical contractor is 55 years old, right? 71% of the contractors are white, right? 9% are women, right? 10% are Hispanics, I believe. 8% or 9% is another 9% is Asians. And then you got 6.3%, right? Remember, age is 55, average age is 55 years old, and 6.3% are African Americans, electrical contractors, right? If I could wave the wand, come on, man. It'd be at least 10 of me, 10 or 15 of me. You feel what I'm saying? In the state of Maryland. And we'll be getting busy. You know what I mean? We wouldn't have any issues. The minority, you know, the need for minorities probably, I mean, the needs for the minority participation, that wouldn't be something that we struggling to reach. You know what I mean? You'll be able to, everywhere you look at, you'll be able to find a competent minority contractor. You feel what I'm saying? And we will be competitively competing, right, the right way in order to get these projects, right? You'll have general contractors at our door begging us to do jobs, right? You know, in a perfect world, if I could just wave the wand and have that change, man, it would be a whole lot more of us, man, a whole lot more, again, brothers that are even 30 and under, right? 30 and under, man, hopefully 25, 26. That's electrical contractors and getting busy. And, you know, this, you know,
I don't think I ever seen, like, in our community, a all black company building a mall or building, I mean, just even on a residential housing tip, like
it's tough, bro.
Yeah.
It's tough, bro. This thing here, man. This thing of ours, man. This construction thing, man. This commercial construction thing, is not easily it's not easily grasped, man. And it's not for the faint heart, man. This shit is hard, bro.
it's a fight.
It's a fight because there's so much involved in it. And unfortunately, the administrative process, remember I spoke with you about this before, man. 75% of what I do is administrative, right? If you want to do it diligently, right, and effectively, if you want to run this commercial contracting company effectively, you got to be sharp with your administrative skills.
Absolutely.
Right? Sometimes the question, I found out that, right, the question is that GC's asking, not how many men you got, how many people you got in your office. That's gonna tell where you at. That's the gut check right there. You talk all this, get on the phone. Yeah, we can handle this, we can handle that. How many people you got in your office? Well, it's me and my bookkeeper. It's you and your bookkeeper. You got estimating. You got material that you got to keep and make sure you keep on site, right? Who's pulling your permits,
You
right?
want to know if you got a team.
Yeah, who's pulling your permits? Who's doing your safety training? Who's going out? Who's doing your turnovers?
Why you think it's like that? What's I know the importance of a team, obviously, you know, but why you think they was on it so much with you? Like,
I mean, what you mean? So whenever I'm speaking just in general. It's contractors in general.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? I have never been asked that question, but I've seen these questions asked on applications, right?
Yeah.
How many office personnel do you have? And I look like, oh, that's the gut check right there. Because again, that shit is imperative. You feel what I'm saying? Like, who's like, bro, how people, like, jobs don't just come. So if we got a building downtown, you know how they come? They come in drawings and plans of like 200 pages. Big drawings that I got. It may look like Chinese to you. It's like, here you go. A lot of people think like, oh, what you supposed to do with that? And then you got to estimate and figure out a bid for the job, how much it's going to cost you. You got to go through it. You got to do a takeoff. You got to count all of the outlets, right? Or receptacles, right? You got to count all of the switches, all of the pipe that's needed, and corrugate and get together a price to get these people, right? And put in an estimate like every other electrician or electrical contractor is doing.
Right.
How many of us know that?
Not too many.
This is what I'm telling you.
You the only person I know.
And you know what I mean? And we getting busy, and I'm struggling, striving to make this thing happen, bro. And it's not enough of us that, again, with a lot of this being brand new, a lot of us being first generation contractors, a lot of brothers just come off their tools, right? And just, okay, I'm gonna start a business because I got my master's. Like, okay, you good with doing that if you just gonna be like a service call and putting people ceiling fans to be like a residential dude. But if you want to go to the big leagues, what I'm aspiring for, and with the permission of Allah, I'm gonna get there.
Yeah.
It's a lot more components involved, man, that you got to get your hands on.
Absolutely.
You feel me? It's a lot more components involved. You got to get your hands on, man.
How important is educating people on these issues?
Imperative. That shit. Yeah, that joint just ain't important. That shit is imperative. That shit is a must.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's a must for our people to actually realize, you feel what I'm saying, that this is a need that needs to be satisfied. Yeah, I mean, excuse me, not just a need that needs to be fulfilled, right? This is a need that needs to be fulfilled. You know, we got to come to the realization also that we are not aware of a lot of these things. We got to humble ourselves and be like, yo, right, I do got to sharpen up here. I do got to sharpen up there. Because it's a ton, bro.
Yeah.
It's a ton, bro. Like I told you, man, you know, I just had a $1 million contract opportunity. And
That's
I was
facts.
up for it.
That's fact.
See it. I had $1 million contract and I was in. I was in. I said, yo, it's on. You know what I mean? But we had to turn that down based on certain contract terms that, again, I'm just getting familiar with. My bonding agent told me about it.
Right.
My bonding agent told me about it.
So I know me personally, bro, like, I done been home since the end of 2018.
Oh, yeah. You came home a year after me.
Yeah. And
Right.
if I had to say what my biggest issue has been since I've been
Mhm.
home is relationships with like family members, friends, associates, and even, you know, relationships with women. I feel, you know, we done met up a couple times and
Right.
chopped it up on like certain issues.
Right.
Like we therapize each other. You
Right.
feel me? I don't even know
Right.
if that's a word, but I'm definitely gonna put it out there.
Yeah.
We therapize each other. So like with
Might
me,
get in a dictionary.
yeah, it's definitely in the dictionary. With me, it's like sometimes I feel like people don't really understand me. Like even with what we was talking about earlier, we ain't gonna get into that, but like my reason for feeling like that is like I think differently now. Like from me reading a lot when I was incarcerated, and from me really saying I'm gonna be this person and standing on it and walking in that route, and I'm still, you know, going through struggles and I make mistakes. I ain't perfect, but for the
Right.
most part, if you know King or you know Mayo, like you know, like nah, Mayo, that's a good brother.
Right.
And
Right.
it's kind of like I was telling you earlier what I was saying to the young brother, right? Like, yo, I thought I was gonna go to prison before I knew I was gonna go to college. I knew I was gonna go to prison before I knew I was gonna get a career.
Right.
I knew I was gonna go to prison before I knew I was gonna be a good father.
Right.
There's nowhere in the world I should be thinking that way as an adolescent or a teenager.
Right.
So I came a long way. And I feel like sometimes people don't really understand and have patience for the transition, you know, the transformation that we went through. I ain't gonna say that's the only reason why I went through like a lot of conflict with family, conflict with my mother, conflict with my brother, you know, conflict with my ex, etc. But like a huge part of it I could see is like they ain't really understand me and they ain't have the patience to try to understand me.
So this is a thing, right? Like you understanding, like what it's we got to get down to what we really understand here, right? So what's to be understand is a radical change between us, a radical change, right? Radical change, right? We actually revolutionize ourselves,
Yeah.
right? From being, you know, pistol toter, you know what I mean, dope slinger, hustler, to, you know, just completely being just sick of it and, you know, changing our life for the better and trying to, you know, be you know, a law-abiding tax-paying citizen that's also has a passion and drive to what? Be the leaders and provide for our family.
Yeah.
Right? Which means heads up to a lot of dollars and cents. And, you know, as we trying to do that, we also, right, are looking at where we came from and the conditions, and we putting that on our back like, yo, I ain't never going back there. So everything we do, Doug,
Failure ain't
is
option.
right. Failures, everything we do, Doug, is extra, extra hard. You feel what I'm saying? Everything we doing is with a high level of passion.
Right.
And people can't understand. I'm gonna give you an example, right? So when I first came home, I started working at Walter Electric, right? I'm up and down the ladder. Like I get a job within like a month, all with the permission of a law, man. I get a job within like a month. And I'm jumping up and down the ladder, stuff like that. And I had an older brother tell me, man, Mr. Derek, my old head, man. So Derek was like, hey, this, I know you're excited. A few of them, knew my story. He said, I know you're excited, man. You want work and whatnot, but this is not the company you want to do that for. But they didn't know it wasn't about this company. It was about me.
That's my drive.
It was about me.
Right.
I'm sure that I am going to be the best at whatever I'm doing.
Right.
I'm going to show these people why, because I had something to prove. Right. I'm not with the permission. I'm formally incarcerated. I'm not going back to prison. I just gave back 25 years, no parole. I got, my peoples. You feel what I'm saying? But I had Shanika that held me down. I had my mother, my grandmother, my family, people that held me down. And I'm like, I'm ready to turn this around and I'm gonna provide for my son. Like I had something to prove.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? Not only that, this is the other thing, right? What we left. We left brothers on the tier with life.
Yeah.
Life. They're still in prison serving time.
Yeah.
With life.
Yeah.
We left a bunch of brothers and people with no hope. You know what I mean? We left correctional officers that went home every day and laughed at us.
Shout out to Craig Muhammad.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Well,
definitely. Yeah,
shout out to
definitely.
Craig Muhammad. Yeah, Craig Muhammad ain't got life, but
right.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
man.
So we left people. So we had all of that fire, and I had all of that fire in me, hopping up and down this ladder. But who am I to impress this on people that don't even understand it? That's out here in that world that's never been to prison. You feel what I'm saying? So that's the same way. Like, yo, even though like we know what we doing, we know why we doing it, but that ain't other people's reality.
No,
but we wanted to make it their reality. I'm like, because this is what I'm saying. Man, y'all out here playing games. Y'all out here playing games. That man just had like, y'all out here just waking up right there. There's somebody in jail with life. It's like, hold up, bro.
You on it.
Like, I hear you, but like, I don't understand. Like, I hear that, but you ain't got to impress that on me.
Drill instructor.
Drill instructor, exactly.
Yeah.
So, I think that's another thing. So we pressing our peoples to understand that, like, that wasn't their reality. So they don't get the chip on our shoulder. They don't get what we trying to prove. They don't get what we trying to do.
Right.
And I realized that we can't impress that on them at times. You feel what I'm saying? Everything we do is just going hard. Everything is serious. My people's even said that. You know what I mean? Like everything is serious. And, we just out here getting acclimated into society, bro. And, we kind of push people away from us, man. Like I've lost like friends, bro. Like I got people that don't. Yeah, bro. Yeah, man.
I'm a new Tumbo.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, and I don't even use. I just got people that I had thought, and I have a whole bunch of faith in, because I'm trying to get them on something. Maybe not this, but on something. But most of the time, it was a contract to come, because I was like, if I could build a team, but I'm trying to get them on something better. And it's like I'm good. Like, and what happens is, man, like you repel people away from you. And what happens is, man, we find ourselves, and I told you, man, shout out to Tim Reagan, man, CEO of White and Turner, man. I had a meeting with him, and he said, man, that you go walk alone. You know what I mean? Be prepared to walk alone. And you find yourself walking alone. But what happens is, man, that's could be dangerous to the mental, man, because as you're trying to get acclimated into society, you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna make mistakes relationship wise. You're gonna make mistakes money wise, right? And you're gonna make these mistakes, and then you start thinking, and maybe we'll talk too. These mistakes that we make, and we repelling these people, we start thinking the mistakes is the reason that people don't want to deal with us.
I'm gonna throw something at you. So for me personally, right,
Mm-hmm.
I'm diagnosed with depression.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you know that or not.
No, I haven't.
I am recently.
Mm.
Certain people around me trigger depression.
Mm. Mm.
So for me, walking alone is a form of a positive coping mechanism.
So that's
Because
better for you.
I can't be around certain people if you feel like this is what you're gonna do. So if I'm around you and I be like, bro, you know what? Don't set this glass on a table without a holster because you gonna fuck up my shit.
Mm-hmm.
You like, I don't think you don't want me to sit it on the table. I think you just bougie
Mm-hmm.
and your table think your table expensive. Like, nah, I just don't. That's not even your thing to try to rationalize how I feel or the boundary that I'm setting.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just a small example. It can go to like communication. Like, look, don't communicate with me like that. Or don't it's just boundaries. So like I've learned that with certain people, when I set boundaries and tell them like, look, if you do this, more than likely it affects me in a certain way and it's negatively.
Right.
For people to keep doing it and then not only keep doing it, try to emotionally abuse you,
Mm-hmm.
make it seem like your emotions are not valid or
Right.
not valuable.
Right.
So I went through that a lot, and like we was talking about the mistakes, you know about a few of my mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know, I'm not saying that's the main cause of it, but I know that's some of the stuff that led up to it because I didn't have too many positive coping mechanisms. I wasn't working out.
Mm.
I wasn't meditating like I normally do.
Mm.
I wasn't reading a lot.
Yeah.
So all I'm
yeah.
really doing
Yeah.
is thugging. I'm hanging out late,
Mhm.
etc. And it started to catch up with you. So
Right.
like, I think I definitely understand what you're saying, and I feel that. Like I feel that, sometimes I am real quick on the block button,
Mhm.
but I don't do it like I do it with intention, but I don't do it like out of spite.
Right.
I do it after constantly telling a person like, look, man, you can't. I'm trying to tell you like this bothering me,
Mhm.
and I learned like a lot of people don't really, even though they know, a lot of people around me know about that
Mhm.
and still continuously do things that's a trigger.
Mhm.
So for me, I just started really kind of walking alone. I always been alone. I always
But
isolated myself, right?
they maybe I think people try to trigger a nigga because they want to. I had a few dudes tell me like, man, you still that same nigga.
Yeah. I
They
mean,
want to trigger. Some people want to
we
trigger us to
we
take us
are though,
back to
bro. We
that
just a
same
better version of
right. But some people want to take us back to that worser,
that low point.
right, to the lower version
Mm,
of ourselves. Just to tap in and just for us to be like, for us to say, man, you ain't really changed.
right.
But it's like, why would you want to play like that? Like, why would you want me to be my lower self? Like, why would you already know what my lower self led to.
Right.
So why would you want to even rehash that at all?
And how hard I fought
How
to
hard
get
I
out
felt.
of that
Exactly.
low. Yeah.
Like your lower self, you've been out here chilling like you've been good.
Mm,
My lower self has led me to prison.
right.
Has led me to possibly being released to 25 in 2037.
Yeah.
That don't work for me.
Not at all.
For you, you good. You've been out here, you chilling, you good. For that don't work for me.
Mm.
So I'm trying to remove myself from that as much as possible.
Yeah.
Don't get it twisted. We ain't perfect. We still got our faults and our mistakes. But I'm going extra hard, right? Because we're not trying to be back there.
Mm.
You feel what I'm saying? So, when people do that, they may be trying to trigger you back to that. But I say again, going deeper, it's like, why? Like sometimes we got to remove ourselves from them people
Mm-hmm.
and them triggers because they're not gonna understand it. You understand what I'm saying? They not gonna
And we just
understand it.
constantly trying to impose it on
And
them.
we constantly trying to
See, that's a
impose
messed up
something on
cycle,
them.
though.
Right. That's
That's a
crazy
messed up
because
cycle.
we constantly trying to impose something on them. And then what happens is we start secluding ourselves and looking at ourselves like, damn, yo, am I this weird cat? You
Right.
feel what I'm saying? Like, am I this weird nigga that like just people
relate
just
to
don't
nobody.
wear, can't relate to nobody?
Yeah, I
Like,
felt
what's
that
up with
before.
me? Like, you feel
Yeah.
me? And it was crazy. I was watching Snoop got a joint he just put out 2 days ago with a famous podcast. I can't remember their name.
Mhm.
And yo, he was dropping jewels, bro.
Mhm.
Snoop was dropping jewels about, man. He made one analogy about him being working at McDonald's, right? Working at McDonald's. And he working at McDonald's, but he got like 60 niggas with him, right? You got 60 brothers with you that you just keep bringing with you, and you keep wondering why you want fries, why you can't never get to the cash register. Why? Because they in the parking lot. They like, yo, my man, we here. They ain't working. They not doing nothing. They just with you.
At McDonald's, why you
They
working?
with you at McDonald's while you working, right?
Yeah.
So they just what? Baggage,
Yeah.
right? So if these people are not doing the same things that we doing,
Mhm.
you feel what I'm saying? It's like, yo, sometimes you gotta be like, yo, we have made this radical change. And I know sometimes it's tough transition. It's even a psychological situation, bro. It's tough transitioning that because these people that we love,
Mhm.
we've known all our life. It may be
Dearly.
your mother.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? Mother, best friend, homie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Nobody really wants to come home and be just by themselves. But at the same time, it's like, yo, I'm doing this. This is exactly what this is my heart is set on doing.
Mhm.
You feel what I'm saying? And that's change. They doing what they doing, bro, but it's hard to separate ourselves. But if we want to grow and keep persistent and going further, shit got to be dead.
Yeah.
And I am starting to manifest the biggest fuck you in me in the world.
Like Wallow said, you gotta put that fuck it button on.
Yeah, man, fuck you, dog.
Yeah.
If you know, I mean, so many people no, not really. Because
Yeah.
think about it. I've been respectful. I'm always, and that's the reason again why I'm always extra respectful, extra courteous, always trying to extend the furthest hand because I want to make sure that I'm right.
Right.
I want to make sure that I was as righteous as possible.
Right.
So when you keep disregarding that and all that stuff like that, that means you're saying fuck me.
You intentionally
You
swerving
intentionally
in my
saying
lane.
and saying fuck me. I don't care which you is, nigga. Cutthroat. I don't care if your family starved, you starved. Yo, I'm intentionally fuck you. I want you to fail.
Mhm.
So how you can say fuck me
Yeah.
and it's not fuck you? How is it? How could you do something to me,
Mhm.
but I'm afraid to do? Oh, I can't do it to you. No, you can abuse me, but I can't. No.
Mhm.
So it doesn't have to be fuck you respectfully.
Right.
It could be in a respectful manner, but in regards to me, because this is what happens, right? I think, and again, this as I'm talking through this, right? We get into it, right? When you say fuck you respectfully,
Mhm.
you're still like, nah, I'm just not gonna deal with that, brother. It's okay. I hope he well. And then you start to think in your head, damn, man, can I handle that a little better? Maybe I should give him a chance. No.
Yeah.
You don't give a fuck about me.
Mhm.
Why should I give a fuck about you?
All right, I got a question. Is that a form of, and this is just a hypothetical question, like is it a form of going to your lower self? Like getting on their level?
Nah, I don't think
Like
it is.
Michelle Obama say, when they go low, we go high?
Again, we are going high, but it's different things, and it's different for everybody.
Yeah.
Right? Not to say again, it's a complete cutoff.
Mhm.
Right? The fuck you, this is not, it's like, are you saying respect? Oh, hey, how you doing? Chop. It's like, no, completely dead.
Yeah.
We are good because you're only trying to cut into me to see what I'm doing.
Mhm.
You feel me? You don't really care about what I'm doing, right? Because if you cared about what I was doing and you really supported me, you feel what I'm saying? We wouldn't even be at this juncture.
Right.
Right?
At this point.
We wouldn't even be at this point.
Mhm.
So we're at this point for a reason. So when you try to cut back into me again and take my kindness for weakness, you're just really trying to be nosy. You're just really trying to be nosy and trying to figure out, let me see what this nigga doing.
Mhm.
See how I can, you know what I mean? And yo, you know, that's crazy. And it's like, yo, bro, like, we gotta realize, man, you know, the best way I believe, again, man, that we can help those is leading by example, bro.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? Because like at the end of the day, like when you just came from that facility, you know, with those younger brothers today, what I told you is the biggest thing, and that was the reason why I was in the streets so long, is because when we go to school, bro, and they say you could be this great person and that doctor and that lawyer, it's like you're telling me this, but I don't identify with you.
I don't see it.
I don't see it. You're white, you come from out super county. You don't live where I live. You don't endure. You don't see what I see every day. You had a completely different life. So what you telling me is not coming from where I'm from. So I can't see myself actually aspiring like what you keep exuding and you keep telling me I can do. You understand what I'm saying? So, but however, when you have brothers like us, right, with the permission of, we're only released 5 years. You going on 5, I'm going on 6. You feel what I'm saying? So when you have a brother like us, we sitting here, we doing what we doing. You know what I mean? We could tell, but they looking at they looking at everything like, yeah, I just came from the joint.
Right.
My own electrical contracting company. You feel what I'm saying? We make it more real and appealing. Yo, they say brothers on JCI, bro. They say brothers on that tier. It's continuously talking about us, bro. Brothers on that tier, man. Yeah, Akeem is doing this. Saquon's doing this. Like, brothers is in there doing exactly what we was doing, sitting in the corner reading books constantly in their head. Like, yo, I'm going to be out one day. Yeah. And I'm going to get to it.
We're giving them hope.
Exactly. And you got some brothers coming home and trailblazing.
Yeah.
Trailblazing, bro. You feel what I'm saying? Exactly. Trailblazers. So, you know what I mean? I think, again, the best way, man, to keep the fight going and continue to reach our goals, man, we just got to shed that dead weight, man. We can't, because it's weight on so many levels. You know what I mean? It's weight on stress. It's weight on anxiety. You know what I mean? It's weight on your depression. You know what I mean? Our depression. Let me say that. You feel what I'm saying? Like, it's just a whole lot of weight, man. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it could just lead to, man, just, as you said, now you don't even have them coping mechanisms. We used to work out every day.
Yeah.
Run, hit the yard,
my chest supposed to be poking way out the shit.
I mean,
like
come on, man. That joint, this is crazy, bro.
But my chest crazy, or what you talking about, bro? I got a little something.
Yeah, not really. But
hey, yo, you know what's up? You just said, baby, think about, remember when we was in Mark class at JCI, and he brought the
shout out to Mark Howard.
Yeah, shout out to Mark Howard, Georgetown University.
Josh Miller.
Yeah,
Dr. Josh Miller.
Yeah, man. Hey,
my homies.
I ain't gonna lie, like, just to segue real quick, like, Mark played a pivotal role in me being right here at this moment, like, because when he had the JCI scholars down there, them class was bumping. He was bringing in all-stars in there. And I'm thinking of I don't think he was a psychic or remember he brought the dude in, or was you in that class?
I might have not been in there.
He brought somebody in there, and I can't remember his title or whatever, but he was showing that he was a mentalist. He brought a mentalist in there one day. His last name was Sinisi or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. So he like, man, I need a participant. So I'm like, I go up there. So I remember I had an Invicta. My the sister I was messing with had just bought it like a few months ago. I had Black Invicta. Mm-hmm. He made me give him his watch. First he asked me what time it was, and he basically switched my watch to a different time without touching it. In the library, in front of Craig Muhammad, all these convicts, we looking like, man, you playing games, because we sizing them up.
Right.
Switch bro, it was the time, he put my watch to a time that he designed, right? But I say that to say, when we did the Q&A, I forgot who asked him, but he was like, do you think with your mentalist abilities, you can reach the youth? And he straight said, he pointed at me, he said, no, I think he would reach the youth more than me, because the youth can relate to him more. Mm-hmm. So you got mentalists saying that.
Yeah.
Like, that's real talk. Like, they gotta see we are examples of change. We are the personification of transformation.
They gotta see they self in the person that's changed.
Yeah.
right? They got to see themselves in a transformed person.
Mm-hmm.
You feel what I'm saying? They got to see themselves, that whatever, you know what I mean? Let's just think about it like, the transformation of butterflies. You feel what I'm saying? They got to be able to see like, man, I was once that, that caterpillar.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? I was once that caterpillar, and I know that. You feel what I'm saying? So they got to see that.
Yeah.
And that's important. And that's the reason why I said, it's imperative, man, for us to, man, just keep pushing, man, and make it, man.
Mm-hmm. And I gotta give a shout out to Chris because Chris Wilson. Shout out to Chris Wilson.
Yeah, definitely. That's my dad.
Yeah, but Chris was one of the one of the brothers that helped me see it more. For real, when he came in there with the master plan. You introduced me to Chris.
Yeah.
Newspaper art. You ain't never heard this brother?
Yeah.
Man, I ain't never heard Chris.
Yeah,
I read the newspaper article. I'm like, dang.
Yeah.
Then it's crazy. I don't even know if it was us because I do feel like, yo, we some powerful brothers, yo.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was something else in place, but he eventually came in there. And that was not too long after you showed me that newspaper. Not saying we didn't do it. You know, we ain't we ain't get the warden to get him in there. But yeah, like when he came in there and he told the story, he was talking about the master plan. I was like, man, I gotta write me a 5-year plan.
Right.
While I'm inside.
We had a 5-year plan. We started comparing our 5-year plan.
Yeah, like, I mean, I start seeing beyond those barbed wires, and I start seeing myself in great positions or in a higher self. And like, I appreciate brothers like that by leading by example. So I can imagine how we look to other brothers in there when they hear about you, doing what you do, or hear about me doing what I do, and other brothers, because we got a larger circle of
absolutely.
Brothers that we was on the tier with, we was spitting with, all of us home. Majority of some of them in University of Baltimore, they college students, they entrepreneurs, etc. Everybody doing positive stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? And yeah, we need a documentary, man. Around. Yeah, to tell that story. Like,
yeah, definitely.
I want to ask you about rappers, man. Like, we'd have had these conversations, and I'm a rapper too, but I don't fit in that category with other rappers. Not saying it on no arrogant tip. I just don't rap about the same things. I'm not living that life, so for me to rap about it, it just make me look like a hypocrite or a contradiction. Right. But how do you feel about like them? How do you feel about the way they utilize their power or they don't utilize their power?
Yeah, we had this
influence.
We had this conversation many times, man. I don't feel like they doing enough, but I don't think they know how to do enough. You feel what I'm saying? Because some of them are just raps. However, the rap industry is a legitimate business industry, right? And I think that, even though, they got the stacks of money and all that stuff like that in the videos, and they talk about, some of them got the guns and everything in the video. However, what they're doing is
switches on.
Yeah, with the switches on it. However, what they're doing is they marketing the product. You feel what I'm saying? They marketing the product.
What's the product?
The product is the trials and tribulations of what goes on, or the realities of what goes on in the streets. That's what they marketing. However, that is a business that's set up in a business manner. There's videos, right? There's advances, right? There's sound engineering, right? There's clothes. This is just all a pretty much a film that is set up. There's many different businesses behind this thing, and I think really we need to highlight to the kids. I don't think they talk about that much. You feel what I'm saying? They just the biggest, the biggest G on the block, the biggest, fentanyl, whatever you you got. But you a legitimate multimillionaire, right? You got endorsements, you getting paid from YouTube, you getting paid for your streams. Like, you are a businessman, and we need to highlight. They need to highlight or figure out. And again, I don't know if they know how to do it, but the powers that be need to highlight educational curriculums around what around what goes behind into that vehicle that moves, that pushes that record, or that pushes that business, right? They need to highlight that, right? To let these, like, these kids out here know, like, yo, all that, everything that they got, them racks, them stacks, and everything that come off of legitimate business moves. And they're legitimate business moves that we need to snap a daggone, maybe a spark in these kids' brain, like, oh, I could be a sound engineer, right? For the baby, right? Or for Jay, right? I can be, a clothes, a tour, a tour manager, right? Putting the tours together, or, a clothes designer, or all of these different career fields that encompasses the music industry. That's what we need to be flowing inside of these schools. The reason why is because we can't negate it. They got the streets.
They got the ear to you.
They got the ear to youth. They are a major influence that has the ear to youth.
Yeah.
So being as though they have the ear to youth, they need to be highlighted. Remember, I told you this, you know what I mean? Quality control, entertainment, vocational school, right? Or whatever you want to
say that
call it.
again?
Quality control, vocational school, or quality control, middle school. You feel what I'm saying? Or high school. And inside of it, you go into what? Class, your first period class may be on Instagram, right? It may be a 600, 700 page book on everything that goes behind to the how Instagram started, its history, and how the behind the scenes of how it works, right? And how people monetize, how people make money off it, right? Because when you do these things, bro, you'll have a, come on, man. Imagine, can you think a kid gonna be cutting first period? Not too many. Yeah, I'm going to Instagram class. I'm going to YouTube class. Like, I'm everything that I'm doing all day now, but like, yo, I could get my phone, I could actually use my phone and post in class, like, hey, because I'm reading a book.
Right.
I may even create a program, or I may even create a joint. You feel what I'm saying? Some code writing behind the scenes.
Code writing, man.
You feel what I'm saying? To actually fuel that or lead the next, social media app. You feel what I'm saying? Because we gotta grab their interest, bro. They're not interested in the old way the old school curriculums, and draconian, or the draconian curriculums of the past that we grew up on. It's a whole new day and age. So we need to be, fixating our minds and gearing them to, what they interested in. A lot of people, the naysayers, they go like, well, what are you going to just change the whole school curriculum? If that's what's going to get them in the doors, yeah. But it's still doing what? It's still doing reading comprehension, thinking, testing. We're still doing these things, but we're doing it with things that they are interested in. You feel what I'm saying? We got to meet the people where they at. So, to answer your question, they not. I don't think they know how, but, we need to figure out the way to have these rappers highlight their image in another way, man, to get these kids to get the streets, bro.
Hey. And that's crabs in a barrel right there, man.
Definitely.
Yes, sir. Thank you for coming on, brother. You
Yeah,
already know.
that was hard, dog. That was hard.
That's what I do. I do hard stuff, though.
I mean, it may have been. I'm ready to get my drink fully again. I understand it.
You say you was gonna do some dips.
I'm gonna do that too.
You doing some dips with the dip. You about to dip. You say you gonna dip and do some dips, but you ain't got no dip for the chip.
If I was the dip, I wouldn't be able to do this.
If I tell you a dip and pull a truck,
So I just keep
shut
it
up
100.
and suck up.
I'm like, what the fuck I gotta lie for? For real, I got shit that I die for. Or kill, I got people I would ride for. Yeah, so I just keep it 100. I'm hurt, still shit that I would cry for. For real, feeling like I need to try more. For real, all the people in the sky for it. You could try hide your pain, but these people